Ellis and Antonio McDyess, Dikembe Mutombo, Mahmoud Abdul-Rauf at one guard spot, and Brian Stith at the other. Eagles Arena. It was memorable for two reasons. A tremendous comeback by the Mavericks, 25 points down, and Jim Jackson rolled out of 50.
In the mid-70s in Gulfport, Mississippi, a young kid named Chris Jackson was fighting a silent battle. He was dealing with Tourette syndrome, a condition that made his world feel chaotic and unpredictable. The court became his anchor. By pouring his energy into the mechanics of the game, he transformed a lifetime of constant motion into a controlled, meditative craft. It wasn't just practice. It was the only time his world stood still. That dedication paid off. Chris Jackson became an elite college star, leading into his entry into the NBA. He wasn't just a shooter, he was a pioneer. He was putting up numbers and playing with a level of precision that the 90s NBA just wasn't built to understand.
How many times you had 50?
At LSU for those 2 years, I had 50, I think, or more 4 times. I think over 40, 14 times. I came up with a coach that he didn't believe in wasted movement, over dribbling, none of that stuff. Once you get into your move, 2-3 dribbles, something's gotta be done. This is my thing. You know what I mean? Just whatever you do, leave it all on the table. Exhaust yourself, believe in yourself. When you talk about resilience, right? All of those things, and when you're consistent, when you sacrifice, when you're diligent, when you pay attention to details, when you're patient, all of those things, they intensify your confidence. They intensify your belief.
At LSU, his numbers were simply staggering. We're talking about a scoring machine who averaged over 30 points per game for 2 consecutive seasons. He wasn't just scoring, he was setting an offensive standard that changed how teams scouted for years to come. But just as he was becoming a star, his personal journey took a profound turn.
Tells the story of how Abdul-Rauf, against all odds, made it to the NBA, just to have his career come crashing down after converting to Islam and taking a stand against racism.
He converted to Islam and changed his name to Mahmoud Abdul-Rauf. When he entered the NBA, that same intensity followed him. He wasn't just a role player, he was a franchise cornerstone. He consistently averaged over 18 points per game during his prime seasons in Denver, including a blistering 19.2 point per game campaign in 1993. He was one of the league's most lethal shooters, often ranking in the top tier for free throw accuracy, sometimes flirting with the perfect percentage, which earned him the respect of every elite defender in the 90s.
I'll tell you one of the things I did like about being in Denver, playing with Mahmoud Abdul-Rauf. And people that see Steph now, it remind me of him. He was the first dude, like Tim Hardaway was doing it. You know, he the OG, but he had some sauce on that thing. Pump fake, and he'll hit you with the pump fake and have everybody, hey man.
And you know what's crazy? He's playing in the Big Three and just played in the Big Three championship.
Really? Hey, man, I love him.
Shout out Mahmoud, at 50.
I was about to say, at his age.
I learned professionalism, and he's immaculate. He got Tourette syndrome. I've sat there and watched him tie his shoe as a teammate. I saw him not eat at certain periods of time during the season, him and Akeem Olajuwon, and it was incredible to me. I was like, wow. I gotta step it up.
Make no mistake, he was one of the most electric scorers in the league. He was a dynamic playmaker whose offensive creativity forced the defenses to evolve. He was rapidly becoming the face of the Denver Nuggets and the most exciting young talents in the entire NBA. But while his game was evolving, the league itself remained stuck in the past. The 90s NBA was a different world. It was corporate rigid and it demanded total conformity. When Mahmoud refused to stand for the national anthem, the sanctuary he had built on the court started to crumble. He wasn't just criticized, he was targeted.
It became national attention in '96 when you decided not to stand for the national anthem, but you had been doing it, 4 to 6 months, I think you said in the doc before that.
I remember after doing that interview, after the shoot-around, I'm going home. We have a game against Shaquille O'Neal, Orlando. And the reason I say that, man, these are conversations we have all the time. On the bus, on the plane, we're having them. And so I didn't really think anything of it. I'm just speaking what I believe to be true. But I knew that it was serious
when, even more so, I knew it was serious at the shoot-around. I knew it was even extra serious when Bernie called me to his office when I got to the arena. And he said, the NBA wants to suspend you if you don't stand. What do you say? I said, Bernie, I'm not standing. He said, well, some people want to call you, so get them on the phone. And so we're now talking. I wish I could remember who it was. And as we were talking, they said, they started talking to me, trying to convince me. I said, listen, man, I'm not going to stand. I said, so you do what you got to do, and I'll do what I have to do. And I'm so green, man, literally. I've never been suspended in my life. I'm thinking it's going to take an act of legislation. I'm going to be able to go play for a few weeks, and then they got to go through a board and a process, and boom. And I'm like, can I go put my stuff on, man, and go play? He said, no. I said, I'm suspended now? He said, yeah. I said, well, can I get dressed and go into the arena and support the team? He says, no. I said, huh? He said, no, they don't want you on the premises. Have a go. So I walked out, went down, said what I had to say to the teammates, and they looked, and I drove home. Before I knew it, man, it was global.
The media machine turned on him, he didn't bend, and the league didn't forgive him. He stood by faith, but the price for that integrity was his career. He spent years playing overseas, proving he still had the talent. When you look back now, you see more than a basketball player. You see someone who saw the future, both in the way he played the game and in the way he refused to sacrifice his identity for the paycheck. He was a shooter ahead of his time and a man whose principles outlasted his critics.